Alrighty, so basically what we've got here is a grade 8 bolt and a grade 8 nut. Now what I want to go over today is the absolute worst case scenario of you're tightening a nut or a bolt and then it snaps off. What do we do now? So this same process and procedure can be done whether it's in an engine block or a leaf spring or some other aspect of where it is on the vehicle or whatever the work place is that you're doing it. This same information will transfer over to that. It's just nice to be able to set this up here and have a drill press and everything. It will work. These processes will work with a hand drill in the field. It's just going to take a little bit longer, so for video's sake, we're going to make sure that we try and have it cut down. But you can see we've got grade 8 bolt and we've got grade 8 nut there. And that's what's right in here. And I've tightened this down just as tight as I can. So we'll pretend like it's snapped off and we'll go ahead and just cut this off. So you want to, if your bolt breaks and it's not nice and smooth, you need to make sure you get it nice and smooth like this. This is going to be the first step in the process. Make sure that we have a nice area to go ahead and start working with. Okay, bolts broke off. We need to go ahead and re-drill this and retap it. So what I want to do here is I want to make sure that we take this and we get a nice center punch directly right in the center so the drill bit doesn't walk around on us. And what this video is going to do is it's going to let us, I'm going to show you how to drill this bolt out, and then if we drill the bolt out, if we have problems during that, during the drilling and tapping process, I'm going to show you how to fix that too, or if the drill bit breaks as well. So let's crank this down. Okay, fire up the drill. Okay, so now worst case scenario is we were trying to drill this out and now an even harder piece of metal is stuck in there in the drill bit. The steel for the grade 8 bolt is going to be about maybe 30, I think it's in the 30s to 40s on the Rockwell hardness scale, okay? The steel in the drill bit is going to be up in the 50s and 60s just depending on what kind of drill bit you have. Like these TTP hard drill bits, that's going to be a 66. That's going to be a super, super hard bit. So now what? We've already had trouble with the bolt breaking off. Now we've got a drill bit broken off in there too. What are we going to do now? I'm going to show you. First of all, we're going to get rid of this drill bit. Get it out of the way. Throw it in the garbage can. We're going to go ahead and smooth this back off again. We got a nice flat spot to work with. Okay. And now, this is something that you can find at your hardware store, okay? This is going to be a RotoZip tile bit. It's going to be carbide. Carbide is the only thing that's going to drill through hardened drill bit steel, okay? I've already done a ton of videos on this stuff. There's some really expensive, really nice bits out there that are solid carbide, that are sharp, that will work for this. But if this is happening, you're probably going to be at, you know, in the middle of a project and want a hardware store solution. So if we do that, we'll go ahead and show this here. And this is going to be a 5/32 bit. Okay, so we got wall tile, and this is a solid carbide bit. Now the good thing about this is that it doesn't have all the twisting in it. You'll notice we can't dig the drill bit out of here because it is so stuck. It's twisted down in there. It's like it's threaded itself into the work area. So it's not just going to simply come out. If you get one and it actually just kind of comes out real nice, that's great, but that is not going to happen most of the time. So what the great thing about this is that if we broke this bit off in there, there's almost nothing. You could possibly maybe use a diamond bit or something, but it's going to be extremely expensive and it's probably not going to work. It's probably going to drill the steel on the outside of it. So what the advantage with this is there is no twisting. If this does break off, you're going to need to be super careful with these because they're fragile, but if this does break off, it's going to go ahead and not be threaded into there and you should be able to dig it out. So let's go ahead and get this saddled up. Now if you run this in a RotoZip, it's going to work a lot better because it's going to be a super high RPM. So that means it's going to do the job faster. But I'm showing how to do it in this drill press because most people are not going to have a RotoZip on hand. They're just going to have a hand drill. Okay, what's happening is that's as far as my drill bit's going to go. And let's see here. What exactly happened there? Okay. So now you can see that actually drilled our hole right out and it actually knocked the bottom right through that. Okay, so that's what you would do if you had a drill bit stuck in there. You can see that it's going to go ahead and cut that, and it's going to try and cut through the softer metal. But you know, if you were actually using a RotoZip, it's actually you're gonna have a lot more control. And if you can at least get down to the bottom of it and get that drill bit, you could actually use it by hand and kind of move that thing around a little bit. So let's see, what do I want to do now? Oh, now we got to tap. Okay, so now we're gonna fix our threads. Everything's gonna go back in here. We've got our hole lined back up. Tying it back to the original threads now. Yeah, that's looking good. So now, tighten that up. Now what happens if something even worse happens, okay? Now we're just having the absolute worst day and now we're gonna break this tap. Uh-oh, now what are we going to do? Well, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get back to our grinder. Create as much of a smooth spot as we can. Probably going to want a little bit more than that, to be perfectly honest. I don't have a lot of material to work with left. Okay. that's going to have to work for right now. Now what I'm going to do is, instead of using, you could use your carbide rotary file thing on this as well, but I'm having some trouble with the depth on it. So what I'm going to do is, we can try the other option that you would have at the hardware store as well, which is a sharp carbide bit. So this is the one from Bosch, and it's going to say sharp on there. You're going to notice a big difference in between this and the other bits, because it'll have this sharpened tip. You can actually feel it. Once again, carbide is going to be the only thing that's going to drill through this. This is going to be super hard, super hard. It's going to be just as hard as a drill bit. I'm actually going to need to make that a little flatter, because if we have that angle, it's going to drive it right over there to that angle. So we want that sucker to be nice and flat. Okay? So now we're going to put our bit in. We're going to have lots of room with this one. Try and get a starting point, but the steel, I don't know if it's going to actually do anything or not, because the steel in this is probably just as hard, if not harder, than the steel in the drill bit. Let's make sure that we got this tucked all the way up in here. Check my bit, make sure that the head's not cracked or anything. So all that we're concerned about is this carbide cutting tip down here at the bottom, and it still looks pretty good. You can see that we are making some headway on that. Okay, so we managed to drill into it, and then it just managed to go ahead and get it past those first couple threads, and then it pushed it all the way out. You may not be lucky to get that lucky on there, but that's going to be a good inclination of what's going to happen. The other thing, and the other reason that these carbide bits are really good, is because they're going to, they're not going to twist and stick, like I was saying about the RotoZip bit. Is it doesn't have that twisting. It's not as, the carbide head is actually bigger, so this is just to channel material out. It doesn't actually twist and grab like a conventional drill bit would. So even if this broke down in there, you'd still be able to pull it out fairly easily. So that's how you can drill out your drill bit. Or first of all, your broken nut can be drilled out by using some good drill bits, some good cobalt or grade 8 drill bits. We'll drill the grade 8 bolt. If you break the bolt, a carbide drill bit like this or a RotoZip carbide rotary file like this will drill that steel out, and then you can go ahead and start over and retap this thing and redo it, and we'd be able to go ahead and put a new nut down in there. Now it's not exactly perfect. It is, your bit is going to try and slide towards that thinner steel. That's why it's very, very essential to try and make sure that the first spot that gets drilled is going to be in that hardest position. So thanks for watching. For more information, check out the website below.